If your agency is stuck under 10k a month, I don't think you have a lead problem. Matter of fact, I don't think you have a skill problem. I just think your offer is built around content instead of outcomes. And if your offer is built around content, you're always going to be capped. And look, don't get me wrong, you will have good months. You will spike revenue. You might even hit 10, 15k months a couple of times, but you will always feel tension when it comes to raising your prices, closing bigger deals, hiring, even trying to scale properly. Because structurally, right now as you are, your business isn't aligned. I want to break down today exactly how we're going to do that. This is going to be no motivational pep talk, but I'm going to use Munim as proof of exactly how we've done it with him and exactly how you guys can do it too. Okay, now let's be fair. Selling content makes sense when you start off because you have a camera, you know a fair bit of editing skills, and you know how to create good visuals. So naturally you're going to sell 12 posts, 4 reels, maybe a bit of monthly management, and that will work out for you to be making 2 to 5k a month, because at that level businesses are paying for the effort you're providing and you're building confidence. But here's what nobody tells you: the same structure that helped you grow will become your ceiling later, because content-based offers are output-based, and output-based offers are time-based, and time-based models will always cap out. Now 5 to 7 years ago, even if I was to, let's say, paint it back to when I started my content agency, posting content itself was a sort of form of leverage, because trying to post consistently was very rare. Like, not many people were doing that. Businesses didn't really understand the platforms. Organic reach was through the roof. Like, you could just post a video, you'll get 10k views the next day. Organic content was so much more effortless, and competition was so much lighter than it is now. If you could just literally produce content on a very consistent basis, you've won the game. Because back then, volume alone created the advantage. So a lot of agencies from that era, they grew up on done for you content, monthly management, maybe even content packages, and it worked, don't get me wrong, because the gap between businesses that posted and businesses that didn't was very wide. But that gap does not exist anymore. Now everyone posts, everyone has reels, everyone has content. Content is no longer leverage on its own. Posting, distribution, and outcome are. So if you're still selling content as the core product, you're operating in a market that no longer exists. I'm sorry to say, but it's the harsh truth. Now look, let me try and paint the picture a little bit and go through it properly, because where you stand right now is just a case of you're literally just selling deliverables. And when you sell deliverables, the client will always think that, oh, I'm just buying production, or I'm just buying content. And because of that, they will put you in this box. And that box is just a case of you're just like everyone else. Because I now know that I can compare whoever can give me the cheapest price, whoever can give me the work the fastest, whoever can produce me the most amount of work. And that's all coming down to being boxed in here. And that's all literally you providing the work you are off of time, essentially. Now, to increase income, you need to add more clients. More clients will obviously mean more complex scenarios, and when you have more complex scenarios, you're going to be more stressed. And then when that happens, you're going to say, you know what, I just need more leads. But leads clearly were never the issue, because it's just a case of how you structured it all. This chain here is literally keeping you locked from ascending to the next stage in your life, in your career. Now if we just straight up removed you thinking of this all emotionally, right, let's just compare how trajectory would look if you were to hit 20k months now versus if you actually did it the way we helped Minim to do it. Now look, if your average retainer is like £500, for you to get 20k months, you're going to have to work with 40 flipping clients that you need to actively manage on a month-to-month basis. I don't think that's possible, because how are you telling me you can deeply think, strategize, execute, and communicate properly to 40 businesses every bloody month? Not like basic, hey, how you doing? Properly. Most people struggle at 6 to 8. 40 clients on this model is ridiculous. So what's going to happen? Of course, you're going to lower your quality of work. You're going to work longer hours, or you just stay where you are. You stall. And guys, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but this is your ceiling. This is where a lot of you guys will stay stuck and you won't even know it. Now look, if we compared this to 2k retainers, for argument's sake, if on a minimum you were able to charge 2k a month to hit the goal of 20k months, you only need 10 clients. It's a complete different operational procedure, and that pressure of actually running the business gets taken away by God knows how much, 4 times. But to go from here to here is not just content alone. I need to get an iPad because that writing is horrendous. But 2k retainers do not come from just content packages. You'll be lucky if you do, but to scale this long term, it's hard to do that. It happens from a place of being aligned with knowing what outcome you're delivering to the clients. Now you think you're scared to raise prices, but you're not. You're scared because nothing structurally justifies it. Because if your offer is 12 posts or 4 reels a month and you jump from £500 to 3K, of course it's going to feel uncomfortable because nothing has changed. It's the same scope, same positioning, and you just bump the price up. Now you're creating tension, not only within yourself, but between you and your client. Now when offers are output based, clients will think in like, how much per cost? How much per video? How much is it for each shoot you're coming down for? And it's going to create this cost per unit thinking that we really want to stay far away from as possible. Because that particular model of thinking is just going to create this backward spiral for you and your client, and it's just going to be so many back and forths of their expectations on you, your standards, and it's just going to diminish who you are and how you act as a business. You don't want that. Now let's flip it. If your offer is now, we help X businesses generate Y results using our structured content, paid ads, and management system, the conversation shifts so much from cost per unit to a value per result based offer. That's gonna instantly reduce negotiation, not because you're so much more braver than what everyone else is doing or saying on the market, but because the structure is now supporting the price. Now the clients are thinking, okay, cool, what does this offer generate? What's the business impact going to be? What does the ROI look like? They are now making a strategic decision to work with you long term. Where you used to offer maybe 30-day trials, 1 month, 2 month contracts, they're not thinking that. They're thinking, how long can we work for to execute the level of work we need to create here that you're providing for us to then take us to our goal? 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. You'd be surprised how powerful this shift is to you as an individual and to your business. Now this is what replaces the content model, and I call it the scale ready offer. And there's essentially 5 parts. Now if one part is missing, you're going to feel capped. So first we literally start off with, what is your strength alignment? What are you genuinely stronger? What do you consistently stack? How do your wins look? If I was to stack them all together, what is the common factor I can see here? Now this scale ready offer is typically how I would go through it one-to-one with each individual in the program. And that's the reason why I love one-to-one so much. Because it's not this course BS where I just send you like a list of 20 videos, expect you to work through it and then come back to me and then nothing's been done. I know how that feels because I was on the end of that. I just literally needed at one point in my business, let's say I'm here, I was here and someone who was here. I needed that person to look into my business, tell me what was wrong, tell me what I needed to fix, tell me how I can move to where you are. And that's exactly why I do the one-to-ones. The first thing we do is through the scale ready offer is that we check out your strength alignment. What are you genuinely good at? What do the wins that you've stacked up recently tell me about you? Then we go into niche position. So who is this exactly for? What is the specific market problem that these individuals or groups of people have? And how can we solve it? Which then ties into the outcome definition, because this is now where we develop a measurable result that you can provide through the offer you're going to give to the client. Structure, scope, what's included, what's not included, and why. The last part is then value-based pricing, because we need to make sure the pricing we set for you is anchored to the outcome, not based off of how many hours you've done and you're giving them an hourly rate. This is literally what I call alignment. And it happened with Munim. Like before we even worked, he was giving custom quotes, negotiating with every client. Like if you watch through the student interview we released last week or 2 weeks ago, depending on when this video comes out, you will see that he said that his first stage in getting into this agency world was charging £50, £100 retainers to his friends and family in the area. Can you imagine how he's gone from that to where he is now? All off of the basis of installing this model into his agency. And then of course the scope creep, the endless amount of people that kept calling him and telling him like, we need to change this, we need to do that, or can we do this? Or, you know, you're just an agency, you're starting out, it'll be good for you. You need the experience. Just do this extra work, put it on your portfolio. Bro, like we've heard it all before. I've heard it all before. And honestly, it drives me insane. Just even talking about it. And then of course, these other points that he was unfairly having to go through. Pick the perfect picture of here for him. But, you know, after the alignment, he had a clear niche. He's understood very well what his strengths were as a business, defined outcome, and a fixed scope. That first shift we made for him wasn't revenue. It was literally just putting him on the right path. Follow me on this direction. That was literally it. And then eventually he stopped asking, oh, how much should I be charging? And he started eventually asking, does this client fit the model that I'm actually operating here? That's when the whole control and the frame and the authority all started showing within himself, and he started implementing these as what his agency stands for. Frame control isn't dominance, it's having clarity. Because when your offer is vague, you're going to enter these calls very uncertain. And if you hold that energy in you, then of course, naturally, you're going to show it outwards. And that energy will make you very reactive. You're going to answer instead of directing. You're going to try justifying instead of qualifying. And you're going to always negotiate instead of you deciding. But when your offer is aligned, you know who it's for, you know the outcome, you know the price, you know the scope. Now the call becomes a qualification, not a case of you trying to persuade this client to please work with you. Now that's structure creating authority, and authority will always naturally increase closing rates. And the more close rates you have, you're going to increase revenue, and the more revenue you make is going to compound the structure that you've built. And that is the perfect loop that you can create. Phase 1 for Munim was literally a case of getting him stability with his MRR. So that was 5k, then we eventually moved to 10k. When phase 2 kicked in, it was a case of now he's at 15k months with his agency. And then we finally moved him into phase 3 of hitting 75k, 100k in 1 month. Because everything that we've built for him, everything that he's been able to adopt and execute was all according to who he was, what he had to offer, and more importantly, his alignment as an individual. Because I'm not going to tell you as a videographer or an agency owner to sell something or become a part of something you do not want to be. You do not want to do or be a part of. It's just simple as that. If I can genuinely see that I can help you, then that extension to help you from myself will be made first. But if I can see there's a lot of friction between who you are as an individual and what you say you want your business to be, then there's clearly a mismatch. And that gap is essentially where I come in and help people like Munim. But the point I'm trying to make here is that ultimately he got to phase 3 because he scaled not on the basis of him working harder. He scaled on the basis that his offer was built correctly and properly. Now here's where this goes next, because production will be commoditized way more than it is now. Agencies selling content will feel that pressure added on them, and agencies selling outcomes will feel more leverage. Now if you don't shift now, that gap is going to widen up. I'm not telling you to do this because this is some prep talk or whatever BS motivational shit. I'm just telling you to at least go in the right direction. If your offer is built around content instead of outcomes, you are always going to be capped. You're not underpaid. It's just a case of misalignment. Once you can fix the direction you're trying to move towards and the alignment, your ceiling will naturally move forward and move higher. Now look, if this made you uncomfortable, good, because it probably means you're very talented, but again, misaligned. But the good thing is that misalignment is always fixable. Now, I'll put a link below. It's the full breakdown video of what my acquisition engine is. Give that a watch, because that is going to help you move in the right direction properly. But if you want my help actually installing this with either your current videography setup or your agency as it is now, and you don't know where to go, you don't know how to do it, just drop me a DM on Instagram with the word engine, and we'll see if you're a fit. And if you're somebody who I can genuinely help, then we'll discuss the next steps. But if not, keep watching these videos, because this is the most value you're going to find on YouTube right now of someone who's actually in the agency space still, who's built it to 30k months and is now showing other videographers and agency owners how they can apply it and make a change in their lives for themselves. But yeah, drop a comment below. It'd be good to know where you are with your freelance or agency journey. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.